We've got to learn to deal with discomfort. When I was suffering from insomnia, and I spoke to, over the years that I've had problems with anxiety and OCD and so on, I met some great people along the way that were very knowledgeable on particular areas, because I always researched and found sort of the best people in different fields for different areas. And for insomnia, I remember speaking to sort of insomnia veterans, people who'd had insomnia for 20 years in forums, had and recovered and so on, and talking about how it was the fear of the sensation of being drowsy, or fear of the sensation of being tired, looking tired, that used to bother them so much, and they hated that, and they rejected that, and they wanted rid of that, and they viewed that as instant death or decaying the body that would lead to early death. And so they were so fixated on that then obviously subconsciously, well, not so much subconscious because it is in the primary consciousness right there in front of us, we go to bed, but we're highly concerned about being drained, about our body dying, decaying, whatever view or interpretation you have of insomnia. And so then the whole cycle started and erupted and became a continuous cycle. That's because of that fixation on that part. Whereas once they were like, well, do you know what? I haven't died. Even if I sleep 5 hours, I still do everything. Even if I feel drowsy, I've still done this, and this. I've still had a family. I've still ran a business. I've still done all these different things. And then they became less and less scared. And then with time, that came down. That didn't mean that a lot of those symptoms, unrefreshed sleep and so on, specifically seen in fibromyalgia and ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, they didn't need to be fully gone for them to be at peace. Now, that is very much the case with myself too. I was suffering from very, very bad insomnia. And do you know what I used to think? I felt my whole life had sort of turned upside down. Okay, I felt my whole life turned upside down. Once I'd got that to a place where I was functioning again, it was still very unrefreshing sleep, and I felt very lethargic and sort of in a kind of dreamlike state, even though I was awake. But I had some great times even during that. Like, there was many nights out where I was in a bar and I was still having conversation with everyone and doing everything. Although I felt sort of tired at the beginning of the night and thought I can't stay out, I stayed out. And once I was distracted, I forgot about it. Your brain gives you little extra bits of energy because the brain's like that. The brain doesn't work in a way. I mean, there's so many sort of things to all the different parts of these disorders. But with insomnia, just because you're tired in the morning doesn't mean you'll be tired all day. Just because you feel fatigued doesn't mean you might stay up all day. You also get a sort of secondary boost of energy in the evening. Hence why you'll often feel when you go out at night, oh, I feel a lot more alive than I did at 12 or 1 o'clock, just because of how the brain operates. And so I would often find that. And so things like that, realizing I could still do absolutely everything. And I've got narcolepsy in the family, not severely, but with my father. So genetically, there could be elements of that in there too. I don't know. But I don't need to investigate everything into this sort of really in detail approach to how my brain and genetics and biological everything functions, which I used to do hugely when I was suffering from health OCD. I would be very scared of any biological thing out, any biological danger, any risk. So I'd be going to doctors constantly checking because I wanted to make sure that my body was safe and intact as it was prior to the date that I can remember myself developing chronic OCD. So we've got to stop looking 20 years ahead. And we've got to stop looking to deliver a time period in the past into the future. We're not doing that. We're changing now. We are now as we are. And we're adapting and changing and shifting away from a suffering position for those of you who are suffering. But you don't want to fixate on, I need to feel calm right now. I need this all to be at peace. I need to feel completely relaxed, no physical symptoms.